I own the venue where my sister is getting married. I own the catering company, the florist, the photographer, the wedding planner. My sister doesn't know this. My parents don't know this. And 3 minutes ago, they called to uninvite me from the wedding I funded with $58,000. My name is Victoria Hayes. I'm the CEO of Summit Hospitality Collective, a company that manages $67 million in annual revenue across 3 states. This is the story of how my family erased me for 15 years, how I built an empire while being invisible, and how one phone call forced me to choose between being seen and being loved. But here's what they didn't know. When you dismiss someone long enough, you forget they're watching, learning, building power in spaces you'll never think to look. Let me take you back 4 months, before the phone call, before the reckoning. I'm on the 43rd floor of my headquarters in downtown Denver. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame the Rocky Mountains in the distance, a view I earned through 15 years of work so relentless I sometimes forgot to eat for days at a time. The city spreads beneath me like evidence that I matter, that I built something real. My family has never seen this office. They think I'm an event coordinator. You know, the person who arranges centerpieces and makes sure the DJ shows up on time. They think I help with parties and do pretty well with my little hobby. My company employs 342 people. We own 19 premium venues across Colorado, Montana, and Wyoming. Last quarter, we grossed $18 million. But to my family, I'm still the little sister who helped set up Becca's Sweet 16 with dollar store streamers and a grocery store cake. I need to be honest about something. This invisibility, it wasn't sudden. It was constructed, brick by brick, dismissal by dismissal. Let me show you how it works. 4 months ago, Sunday brunch at my parents' house in Cherry Creek, the neighborhood where Denver's old money lives in houses that cost what most people make in a lifetime. I'm standing in the hallway outside the bathroom, champagne flute in hand, when I hear my sister crying. "We'll have to cut the live musicians," Becca whispers to our mother through the door. Her voice breaks on the word musicians. "Maybe just use a playlist for the ceremony, iPhone speakers or something." I'm 20 feet away, completely invisible, as usual. Through the living room archway, I can see my father with his arm around my brother-in-law, James. James just made partner at a mid-tier accounting firm, the kind of achievement my family understands. Steady, prestigious, traditional. "Now that's a real profession," Dad says, his voice warm with pride I've been chasing my entire life. Stability, legacy, not like these flash-in-the-pan startups that disappear overnight. 30 minutes earlier, literally 30 minutes, I'd mentioned acquiring 4 mountain resort properties in Aspen, a $7 million deal that would anchor our luxury event expansion. My father had laughed, actually laughed, this warm, indulgent chuckle like I'd just told him I was taking up pottery. "Victoria's still playing event coordinator," he said to Uncle Richard, swirling his bourbon. "At least she's enjoying herself, having fun with it." Having fun with it, like I was 8 years old with a lemonade stand. Here's what you need to understand about being systematically erased. It doesn't happen all at once. No one sits you down and says, "We've decided you don't matter." It's smaller than that, more insidious. It's your father changing the subject every time you mention your business. It's your mother introducing you to her friends as "my daughter who does events," while introducing your sister as the attorney. It's being left off the family group chat, not invited to the planning meetings. Your success reframed as luck, your achievements minimized as hobbies. It's being erased so gradually, so consistently, that you start to wonder if you're imagining your own existence. The next morning, I transferred $58,000 to Becca's account. No note, no announcement, just a wire transfer with the memo line, "For your happiness." I never told them it was from me. I thought, and I'm embarrassed to admit this now, I thought maybe if I just kept giving, eventually they'd see me. Eventually my generosity would be so undeniable they'd have to acknowledge I existed. I was wrong about a lot of things back then. Present day. 4 months after I funded my sister's wedding in secret, I'm reviewing a contract for our 22nd venue acquisition, a historic property in Boulder worth $8.3 million. My fountain pen hovers over the signature line. My phone rings. The wedding planner. Caroline Prescott from Sterling Affairs, a boutique planning company we just acquired 2 weeks ago. She doesn't know I'm her boss. The acquisition hasn't been publicly announced yet. Ms. Hayes? Her voice carries that particular hesitation, the kind that precedes devastation. I'm calling about your sister's wedding. Is everything all right with the timeline? The timeline is fine, but your family has requested we remove you from the final guest list. The pen slips. Dark ink spreads across the contract like blood in water. I'm sorry? Remove me? Yes, ma'am. From Rebecca's wedding. They indicated the guest count needs to be reduced, and you'd mentioned having a business commitment that weekend. My hand is shaking now, the kind of shaking that starts deep in your chest and radiates outward until you can't hold anything steady. The wedding I funded with $58,000? Silence on the other end, long enough that I can hear her breathing. Then, your parents indicated that was a family gift from them, with no expectations attached. Here's what happens in your body when betrayal hits. Your heart rate spikes, your hands go numb, your stomach drops like you're in an elevator that's cut its cable. You feel yourself splitting into 2 people, the professional who's sitting in an executive office 43 floors above the city, and the little girl who's still begging her parents to look at her. Really look, just once. They said it was their gift? Yes, ma'am. They've been very generous. The family is covering all major expenses. The family. My $58,000 had been absorbed into the family, made invisible, just like me. And they specifically requested I be removed from the guest list? Your mother indicated you'd be too busy to attend, that you'd prefer not to be obligated. I end the call before she can finish the lie. For maybe 30 seconds, I sit perfectly still. My reflection in the darkened computer monitor shows what I hide from investors and board members and business partners. The little sister's still begging to be seen. The daughter whose empire is invisible. The woman who will never be enough. A tear slides down my cheek. Just one. I don't blink it away this time. Then something shifts. Something cold and calculating slides into place where the hurt was. I press the intercom button. Elena, please connect me with David in legal and Priya in operations. I need them both in the executive conference room in 15 minutes. Of course, Ms. Hayes. Should I clear your afternoon? Clear the next 3 days. Here's what they didn't know, what they couldn't have known because they never bothered to look. I didn't just fund their wedding, I control it. Every single vendor they chose, either owned by my company or contracted through our network. And I was about to teach my family a lesson about visibility. I open my vendor management system, the database that tracks every partner, contractor, and acquisition across Summit Hospitality Collective's network. I start with the venue, Aspen Ridge Estate, a property with mountain views and aspens that turn gold in autumn, the place where Becca will exchange vows in 18 days. I type the name into the search bar. Owner, Pinnacle Property Holdings. Pinnacle Property Holdings is a subsidiary of Summit Hospitality Collective, which means I own it. My sister is getting married at a venue I own, without knowing I exist in this industry at all. I keep clicking. Harvest and Sage Catering, the company providing dinner for 200 guests at $375 per plate. Partner company, exclusive contract. 40% of their annual revenue comes through referrals from my venues. Meadowbrook Photography, luxury floral design, mountain strings quartet. Every single one, either owned by me, contracted by me, or dependent on me for their primary income. My family chose vendors I control the way someone might choose flowers that happen to be growing in their own garden, without ever realizing who planted them. I pull up my bank records, the $58,000 transfer from 4 months ago. Then I find the email Caroline sent to my parents when the deposit cleared. Subject line, confirming your generous contribution. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, we're so grateful for your generous contribution covering the majority of Rebecca and James's wedding expenses. Your support is making their dream day possible. Your generous contribution, not mine, theirs. They took my money, put their name on it, and then decided I was too much trouble to have at the celebration I made possible. I need to tell you something I'm not proud of. For about 10 minutes after discovering all of this, I sat at my desk and looked at a photograph I keep in my bottom drawer, the only personal item in an office otherwise dedicated to business. It's from Becca's law school graduation, 5 years ago. We're all smiling, my arm around her shoulders, her graduation cap tilted at a ridiculous angle, my parents beaming with pride. That day, Dad had pulled me aside. Your sister really made something of herself, he'd said. A real profession, real stability. I'd just closed a $2 million acquisition that week, my third property, the deal that would eventually become the foundation of a $67 million empire. I'd been too afraid to mention it, too afraid of that indulgent laugh, that dismissive pat on the shoulder. So I'd smiled and said, Becca's amazing, I'm so proud of her. And I was. I am. That's the part that makes this so complicated. I love my sister. I love my family. But love isn't supposed to require you to become invisible. David knocks on the conference room door exactly 15 minutes later. Priya follows 30 seconds behind him. They both know me well enough to read my face. David sets down his leather portfolio slowly, carefully, like he's approaching something volatile. What happened? I slide the printed email across the table, the one from Caroline confirming my parents' generous contribution. My family uninvited me from my sister's wedding, the wedding I funded, the wedding taking place at a venue I own, with vendors I control. Priya picks up the email. Her expression darkens as she reads. They don't know you own Aspen Ridge. They don't know I exist in this industry at all. David adjusts his glasses, the gesture he makes when he's shifting into legal strategy mode. Every vendor agreement includes a standard 21-day cancellation clause. We can withdraw services with proper notice, no breach of contract, no penalties. Except the reputational penalty, Priya adds quietly. Victoria, if we do this, if we withdraw services from a family wedding, the optics are complicated. I've already thought about this, spent the last hour thinking nothing else but. Business mogul sabotages sister's wedding isn't ideal press 3 weeks before the city council votes for our downtown Denver expansion. It would be devastating, David confirms. We'd lose the sympathy narrative entirely. Regardless of the backstory, public perception would frame you as vindictive. Outside the conference room windows, Denver's skyline catches the afternoon sun, buildings I helped fill with events that built this empire, an empire my family has never acknowledged. What would they lose, I asked, specifically, if we withdrew all services today? Priya opens her tablet. She's already prepared the breakdown, because she knows me well enough to anticipate this question. Venue rental, catering for $200 at $375 per plate, floral installations, photography and videography packages, coordination services, string quartet, custom lighting design. All deposits forfeit per contractual terms, and the timeline, 18 days until the wedding, At this tier of vendor, everything's booked months in advance. They'd have essentially no time to secure replacements. I think about Becca's voice when she found Aspen Ridge Estate, the way she'd FaceTimed me from the property before the uninvitation, spinning beneath the aspen trees with tears of joy running down her face. It's perfect, Vic. It's absolutely perfect. Perfect because I made it possible. Invisible because that's where they've always kept me. What kind of person does this, I hear myself ask? What kind of person ruins their sister's wedding? Priya and David exchange glances. Victoria, Priya says gently, you uninvited you from a wedding you funded after years of dismissing your success. This isn't vindictive. This is boundary setting. Boundaries, I repeat. The word tastes like ashes. Is that what we're calling revenge now? It's not revenge if you're simply withdrawing resources from people who don't value you. That's called self-respect. But here's the truth I'm wrestling with. I don't know if I'm doing this for self-respect or because I want them to hurt the way I've hurt for 15 years. I don't know if there's a difference. Begin coordinated service withdrawals, I say, finally. 21 days notice, everything documented, every contract clause followed to the letter. All vendors? David confirms. Every single one. After they leave, I sit alone in the conference room and watch the sun set over a city I conquered while my family wasn't looking. My phone starts vibrating within 90 minutes. Dad, Mom, Dad again, Becca. I watch each name flash across the screen and let every call go to voicemail. The voicemails pile up like evidence. Dad's voice trembling with rage. Victoria, I don't know what you think you're doing, but this ends now. If these vendors don't reinstate services immediately, I'm contacting my attorney. This is tortious interference. This is potentially criminal. He'd be suing his own daughter's company without realizing it. Mom's voicemail, honey sweet and poisonous. Sweetheart, I don't understand why you're being so hurtful. What kind of person sabotages their sister's wedding over a simple misunderstanding about a guest list? Simple misunderstanding. $58,000 and 15 years of erasure reduced to a simple misunderstanding. By morning, I have 63 missed calls. Uncle Richard, who I haven't spoken to in 3 years, leaves a message informing me I'm embarrassing the family name, and he's reconsidering his investment in a property deal we're not even negotiating. Family friends I've never met are calling to express concern about my mental state. The narrative is forming in real time, the unstable little sister finally having the breakdown everyone expected. That night, I do something I haven't done in years. I go through old family videos. Videos I've kept but never watched. Becca's 16th birthday appears on my screen. The party I'd spent 3 weeks planning, a garden tea party theme with hand-calligraphied place cards and a dessert table I'd designed myself. In the background of the video, I can hear Mom talking to Aunt Catherine. Victoria threw together a nice little party. She's always been good at these small things. Too bad she can't focus on something more serious. Small things. The same month, I'd coordinated a charity gala for 800 people that raised $3 million for children's hospitals. I open another video. This one is harder to watch. It's from Christmas 3 years ago. I'm sitting at the table while Dad opens the gift I bought him, a first edition book he'd mentioned wanting, $1,200 I'd saved for months to afford. He thanks me politely, then Uncle Richard asks about his business, and Dad launches into a story about nearly losing everything in the 2008 recession. Lost everything I'd built, he says, his voice rough with old pain. 20 years of work, gone in 18 months, had to start over from scratch. Never really recovered. I watched my younger self in the video, paying attention for the first time. I started my company in 2009, right when Dad was watching his fall apart. I open my email archives, years of correspondence I've saved without knowing why. I find an email from Dad to Uncle Richard, dated 5 years ago. Victoria's doing well with her event business. She's got that entrepreneurial spark I used to have. It's hard to watch sometimes, if I'm honest. Reminds me of everything I lost. I know I should be happier for her. I can't seem to get there. Another email from Mom to her sister 3 years ago. I worry about Victoria constantly. She works these insane hours, never takes care of herself, pours everything into this business. It terrifies me. I watched her father nearly destroy himself chasing success, and now she's doing the same thing. I don't know how to tell her I'm afraid without sounding like I don't believe in her. I sit back in my chair, staring at these emails I was never supposed to see. My father wasn't dismissive because he didn't care. He was dismissive because watching me succeed triggered every wound he'd never healed. My mother wasn't erasing me because I didn't matter. She was terrified I'd burn myself out the way Dad had. They handled it terribly, inexcusably. Their fear became my erasure. But they weren't monsters. They were just damaged people who didn't know how to celebrate my success without confronting their own failures. This is the part where I'm supposed to feel vindicated, right? Where their pain explains everything and I feel better about destroying their daughter's wedding? I don't feel better. I feel worse. Because now I understand that we were all hurting each other without meaning to, that love and pain can coexist, that families can destroy each other while genuinely believing they're protecting each other. And I still don't know if that changes anything. They arrive at my office the next morning, unannounced. Elena tries to stop them. I can hear her voice rising in alarm, but my father's voice booms over her protests. She can't hide from us forever. My office door opens. Dad strides in first, face flushed. Mom follows, designer handbag clutched like a weapon. Becca trails behind, her expression unreadable. The morning sun streams through the windows behind me, lighting the room like a stage. "What do you think you're doing?" Dad demands. I lean back in my chair, hands folded, with a calm I absolutely do not feel. "Exactly what you taught me, Dad, protecting my investments." Mom steps forward, one hand fluttering. "It's just a wedding invitation, Victoria. Why make such a scene?" Just a wedding invitation. 15 years, $58,000, an entire empire they never saw. "Let me show you something." I pick up my phone and send a command to the wall-mounted display. Their private family group chat appears 8 feet wide behind me, the one I was never added to. Message after message, seating charts, menu tastings, floral mock-ups. Then Mom's message timestamped 4 months ago. "Just put the venue deposit on our card. We can use Victoria's money but credit it to us. She'll never know the difference. She's too wrapped up in her little projects to notice." Dad's response beneath it. "Agreed. This way the credit stays with family, where it belongs." The color drains from their faces as their own words condemn them. "Did you think I wouldn't find out? Or did you just not care?" Becca sinks into a chair, staring at the messages like she's seeing them for the first time. Her hand covers her mouth. "We were trying to simplify. By stealing my money and my credit? By uninviting me from an event I made possible?" "It's not stealing," Dad starts, but his voice lacks conviction. "It was a gift. We assumed. You assumed I wouldn't notice because you've spent 15 years not noticing me." The door opens. David and Priya enter with leather portfolios. David nods politely to my family before setting documentation on my desk. "The alternative solution you requested, venue, vendors, timeline, everything can be ready within the original timeframe." Priya displays photographs on her tablet of smaller estate property, Summit House, capacity for 150, available on your date. We've secured commitments from replacement vendors across all categories, not the same tier as Aspen Ridge, but respectable. Dad's eyes widen as he watches this exchange, as if he's seeing me for the first time. "You have a whole team," he says, slowly, wonderingly. "A remarkable one," I confirm. "They've prepared a solution that saves the wedding while protecting my dignity, something none of you bothered to consider." I open my desk drawer and withdraw a folder. But beneath it is something else. the stack of emails I printed last night. I hold up the email from Dad to Uncle Richard, the one where he admits watching my success reminds him of his failures. I found these last night, I say quietly. Emails you never meant for me to see. Dad's face goes pale. I understand now why you couldn't celebrate my success, why Mom was so dismissive. I look at each of them in turn. You weren't trying to hurt me. You were trying to protect yourselves. Victoria, Dad's voice cracks. But here's what you need to understand. Your pain doesn't erase mine. Your fear doesn't justify my erasure. I slide the folder across the desk, the one containing the Summit House alternative. 150 guests, core services included. My final offer. Why would you help us? Becca asks, her voice trembling. After everything? Because you're my sister. Because families are complicated. And because... I pause, searching for truth. Because I built all of this hoping someday you'd see me. If I burn it down now, what was the point? 3 days later, Becca asks to meet me alone. We sit in a small coffee shop in downtown Denver, neutral territory. She looks smaller somehow, younger than her 33 years. I read the emails, the ones Dad and Mom sent, about being afraid of my success. It doesn't excuse anything. No, she agrees, but it explains it. And I think, she pauses, tears forming, I think I've been complicit too. I benefited from being the easy daughter, the one with the traditional career they understood. I never questioned why you weren't included. I just accepted it. This is the honesty I've been waiting for. Not excuses, accountability. I'd like you to be my maid of honor, Becca says. Not just a guest, if you'll still consider it. Only if it's because you want me there, not because you're afraid I'll pull the venue. I want you there, she whispers. I always did. I just didn't realize I had to fight for you to be seen. 6 weeks later, golden hour light floods the Summit House ballroom. Becca looks radiant in her dress. The wedding isn't as grand as Aspen Ridge would have been, but it's real, earned, honest. During her toast, she calls me up to stand beside her. My sister Victoria built an empire while we weren't looking, and then, when we hurt her in ways we're still learning to understand, she saved my wedding anyway. She turns to me, tears streaming. Not just my sister, my inspiration, the person who taught me that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and that love has to include respect. The applause feels different than I imagined, not victorious, just real. 3 months later, Sunday dinner at my penthouse. Dad leans forward at the table. What do you think about expanding into Utah with your model? Park City could be significant opportunity. He's asking my opinion, genuinely curious, really listening. From the living room, I hear Mom showing her friend a magazine feature. My daughter, the CEO, she's saying, pride unmistakable in her voice. My phone buzzes, a text from Becca. The wedding photos went viral. Every vendor tagged Summit Hospitality. You didn't just fund my wedding, you held our family together when we could have let it fall apart. Thank you for being stronger than we deserved. I stand at my windows after they leave, watching Denver's lights flicker on across the valley. Is this victory, or is it just survival wearing a crown? Because late at night, I still wonder, was their respect worth the price I paid? Should family love have required proof at all? And now that they finally see me, do I still want to be seen by them? Here's what I've learned. Sometimes the empire you build isn't about what you gain. It's about learning your own worth when no one else will confirm it. Sometimes revenge isn't destruction, it's boundaries. It's saying, I deserve better, and meaning it. And sometimes, just sometimes, the people who hurt you can learn to do better, if you're brave enough to let them try. The city glitters beneath me, silent and knowing. Some questions don't have answers, just consequences we learn to live with. But tonight, for the first time in 15 years, I'm not invisible anymore. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.